So you're thinking about moving to Spring Lake, North Carolina. Well, in this video, we're going to take you on a little map tour of the city of Spring Lake, North Carolina. Now, you want to stick around to the end of the video so you don't miss any of the important information that we want to share with you about the great city of Spring Lake, North Carolina. Now, if this is your first time to our channel, you want to go ahead and like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can receive all of the important information that we want to share with you about the great city of Spring Lake, North Carolina. My name is Michelle Capers and my husband is Smiley Capers, and we're the owners of Moving Forward Real Estate. And believe it or not, we get calls and texts and emails from people just like you on a daily basis needing assistance to moving to this great city of Spring Lake, North Carolina. And we are so excited to get to meet you as well as to get to work with you. Now, whether you're a buyer or a seller, or an investor looking to move in 9 days or 90 days, give us a call, shoot us a text, and send us an email, and all of our information will be in the description box below. We want to help you make a smooth move to the great city of Spring Lake, North Carolina. Now I'm going to turn this part of the video over to my husband, Smiley Capers.
Hi, I'm Smiley Capers, and we're going to jump right into our map video of Spring Lake, North Carolina. Let me start by sharing my screen. All right, so here we have Spring Lake, North Carolina. Small little town located to the northwest of Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is the nearest city. But here we have Spring Lake, the town of Spring Lake, outlined in red. So, little small town. So, if you're looking for a home, small town feel, Spring Lake might be the place for you. All right, for those associated with the military in any way, retired, active duty, those that may be coming to Fort Bragg, I'll have you know, Spring Lake is just outside of Fort Bragg to the northeast. So the commute time to and from Fort Bragg is very minimal, depending on where you live in Spring Lake. As I stated here, the town limits are here, but Spring Lake actually expands further north into Harnett County. For example, I live here in the subdivision here, High Grove and Innocent Creek, which is in Harnett County, but we still have a Spring Lake address or zip code. So all of our mail is routed through the Spring Lake post office. Even though we live in a different county, Spring Lake is associated or settled in Cumberland County, and we live in, as I stated, Harnett County. So keeping that in mind, your travel time to Fort Bragg, depending on where you live in the area, will either increase that time or decrease it. Just food for thought there. All right, so a few key points that we're going to go over in this video here is travel routes throughout the city. How do you get to wherever you need to go? Where are the major shopping areas, so on and so forth in relation to Spring Lake and Fayetteville. Spring Lake being a small town, you do have 2 Walmarts situated in Spring Lake. Most of your major shopping centers, food, supermarkets, you have all of that. If you need some specialty needs, and then most likely you're going to be traveling to Fayetteville to get those needs. But just about anything you can think of, Spring Lake, you do have access to that. Since we brought this up, Fayetteville Regional Airport is the main airport in, obviously, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and that would include Spring Lake as well. So your travel time to the airport from Spring Lake. All right, here we go. All right, we'll just choose a random spot in Spring Lake. Okay, so as you can see, this is the quickest route to get to the airport from Spring Lake, North Carolina. All right, let me see here. Now this will take you directly to what we would call, it's not downtown Fayetteville, but the most traveled route from Spring Lake to Fayetteville is All-American Freeway. You get to a lot of your shopping centers, areas like the mall, Home Depot, Lowe's. A lot of your eating places are off of the All-American. So that will be your main route traveled to and from different areas in whether Spring Lake or Fayetteville. Taking this route, it's about 28 minutes. As you can see here, there may be traffic depending on what time you head out. Other routes, again, this will take you 37 minutes, about 19 miles. So we're looking at about 30 minutes or so, 35 minutes to the airport, depending on what time you go and which route you take. That's from Spring Lake, North Carolina to the regional airport in Fayetteville. Now, we'll get into the surrounding cities later, but since we're on that note, if you, because again, this is a regional airport, so a lot of times those tickets are, you're paying an extra couple $100 to fly out of Fayetteville into your next hub, or you can just travel to Raleigh if that's in your plans, your time, and you have travel to get there, which is from Spring Lake. It's about an hour and 15 minutes, depending on where in Spring Lake you get. So if you don't mind taking that time up to Raleigh, you can save some money on the flight by driving to Raleigh and then flying out of Raleigh instead of going to Fayetteville. But again, something that you make the decision once that time comes. Highway 95. If you've ever traveled down the East Coast, you know where Highway 95 is. It goes from north to south along the East Coast, a major corridor and travel. So as you can see, Spring Lake is about 30 minutes or so, 35 minutes, up to about 45 minutes, just to be depending on traffic, to get to Highway 95 from Spring Lake. Now, there's always more than one way to get to where you're going. You travel through some of these back roads, Bun Level, these other towns throughout North Carolina, small towns in the surrounding area to get to 95. But once you get to 95, then you're pretty much set. So 95 is your major highway, interstate in the area. Now 295 is in the latter stages of its construction now. It should be finished within the next 5 years here. So 295 is what you would call the bypass around Fayetteville that will connect you to a lot of the major areas without traveling through the city. So when you come out of Spring Lake and you need to get to 95, you jump on 295, it'll take you along the outskirts, and then you can hit 295 to continue north or south instead of going through the city of Fayetteville to get to 95. What are the things to do? What is there to do in Spring Lake, North Carolina? Now, obviously, this is a small town. Fayetteville is a city, but it's depending on what you would call a nightlife. There's things to do at night, but if you're coming from a place called, like Atlanta, New York, California, things of that nature, Orlando, Miami, Fayetteville is still country. So, but you still have access to surrounding areas that have what you would consider major cities and nightlife, things of that nature. So here we have Spring Lake is still here. You have Raleigh, capital of North Carolina. Plenty of things to do in Raleigh. You got Durham, just up the road from Raleigh. You have Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Charlotte is on about a 3-hour time window to get to Charlotte from anywhere in the Fayetteville, Spring Lake area. But Raleigh, from Spring Lake, is about an hour and 15 minutes, depending on where you are. Now, from where I live in Spring Lake, it's going to take me roughly about an hour, just under an hour, depending on traffic, to get to Raleigh, North Carolina, from Spring Lake. Okay, so this is a very interesting site that I found. It's called within2hours.com. So basically, you type in, and down to the bottom here, and you type in the city, and then 2 hours from Spring Lake, North Carolina, and you hit go, and it pulls up all this information to let you know what cities, what places you can visit that are within 2 hours of the city that you listed. So 2 hours of Spring Lake. We got Rocky Mount to the north. You got Wrightsville Beach. You got plenty of beaches. You got 3 to the southeast. You got all the way to the south of Spring Lake and getting into Murder Beach into South Carolina. You have access all within 2 hours. This great place to go eat some seafood. All of these places really go great places. Wilmington, great places to eat seafood because it's right on the coast. But these are all places that are within 2 hours of Spring Lake, North Carolina. Then it shows you a map where all of these are located, centrally located. Spring Lake here in the middle, bam, look at all of this that you have access to within 2 hours. That's a weekend trip. If you really want to do it, that's a day trip. A couple hours, start early in the morning, 2 hours in the morning, go do what you need to do and come on back. Definitely doable as a day trip or a weekend trip. But as you can see here, it shows you a map where all of these places are that you can travel from Spring Lake, North Carolina. Now, if you continue down, these are specific cities that are 2 hours from Spring Lake, North Carolina, just to drive, a couple hour drive. Some of these are in the great sightseeing, Thomasville, the furniture place, Wilmington, North Carolina, again on the East Coast. Then it shows you a map of all of these cities are. Raleigh right there in the middle, Raleigh, Durham. And it also gives you RV campgrounds. So if you're into camping and you have an RV, you can see here different places that you can travel, campground sites that you can visit within 2 hours of Spring Lake. You got then it gives you the direction northeast, southeast, south to the southwest. Then it shows you a map where all of these are located. And as you can see, majority of them are on the coast because you're getting closer to the beach. Definitely, if you want to take a vacation, getaway, you don't have to worry about a hotel because you got an RV. Definitely worth the trip drive there. All right. Also, same thing here. State parks. Those that like to get out and see nature. 3 major parks within 2 hours from Spring Lake. You have a county park. You got a state park, a wildlife refuge. To the northwest, Bones Cave Park. And if you click on these links, it'll take you to the webpage and give you more information about these places. Again, with the map, it shows you on the map which direction you will be heading and where these places are. These 3 are in South Carolina. This is in Western North Carolina, Bones Cave Park. Definitely places to check out if you're into the outdoors. So, and it also gives you what cities you can get to by plane. A 2-hour plane flight or plane ride from Spring Lake, well, obviously from the Fayetteville Regional Airport to these cities. Now, someone may say, well, this is, can't say that I would want to particularly visit these places for just no apparent reason, but hey, some people may do that and feel like that's what they need to do. But there you have it. If you want to take a 2-hour plane ride somewhere, these are the places that you can take 2-hour plane ride to visit. All right. And again, you just type in, let's say I wanted 3 hours, 5 hours from Spring Lake, and then it will come up and tell you places to take, places to go, the choices that you have. One other website you want to bring up real quickly is if you want to find out where the best schools, or what's the rankings of the places that you want to live, niche.com. It's definitely a good site to check out. You can type in the city if you want to look at neighborhoods in a certain area. Neighborhoods in Spring Lake, the suburbs, towns, etc. It gives you the rating and it gives you an overall grade, public schools, so on and so forth. Very good website, gives you a lot of good information. I think it even looks into the cost of living, the economy, if it's the best place for retirees, young professionals, outdoor activities, if you're into that, the public schools, best places to live, best for families. Let's click on that just to check that out real quick. So I'm just choosing one. This is in America, so it says Devon, Philadelphia. All right, so crime, safety, wealth of information, just to kind of give you an idea of the area you're looking at. All right, we are going to wrap this up. I think I've talked enough, but I hope I've given you an idea of why moving to Spring Lake is not a bad idea, because the things that you have access to centrally located as far as travel, things to see, things to do. You like to play golf, you can run up to Fort Bragg and play golf. Anderson Creek has a golf club, and Whispering Southern Pines also has a golf course too, a pretty famous golf course, I might add. So definitely have access to different things, water sports, outdoor sports, hiking, you name it, it's here in Spring Lake. So until the next time, take care.
Now that's the end of the video. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We hope that you learned something today. If you did, go ahead and give us some comments in the description box below. Let us know if you loved it, if you didn't like it, if there's areas that you prefer over the other one. or if you would like to learn something else about the great city of Spring Lake, North Carolina. We would like your comments and suggestions on what is it that you want to see in this great city. So as always, we are moving forward one home at a time, and we'll see you in the next video.